You're here, and I'm here, so.
Hail, hail, the county's all
Can
here.
you, take the barrier down so that we don't feel as though we're in a different meeting?
Sorry.
Yeah, well, no, that's
Unless you need
COVID,
what's in it.
that's COVID precautions right there.
Unless you need it.
Do we have minutes from last?
Yes.
Okay,
Did you make copies?
no, I didn't.
Wendy didn't leave us any either, so I'll print off the ones I have.
Well, she can give them to us tomorrow.
Well, we have to approve them
Okay.
tonight.
Tonight we gotta approve
Yes.
last January's minutes.
Okay, we will do that here in a little bit, but we're going out of order now.
No, we ain't. You
Yes,
had
we
a roll
are. We did
call.
roll call, now we elect officers.
Oh, I nominate this lady here, Kate Bostek, as chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now, vice chairman. Assistant chairman?
Richard.
I can't nominate myself.
I'll
Richard
nominate
been
Richard.
stuck with
I'll
it, so-
nominate Richard.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and secretary.
Do we have a secretary?
Yeah, Sue always took the minutes and did all that kind of stuff.
Oh, good, I'm glad I'm vice chairman, because then I don't be secretary.
Well, you look at.
I nominate Bob.
I second it. All in favor? Aye.
All right, let me make notes. Are you okay with this, Bob? I don't mean to be.
Can you?
Well, I'm here because Sue quit,
Yes.
so I'm
Yeah.
only in until,
Somebody gets elected.
yeah, and the election is, well, no, I'm here. My term expires when the election occurs this.
Yeah, this
Oh,
November.
so you're not it until, let's see, but she just re-upped.
She did, she quit.
Yeah,
I know,
she quit
I mean,
after she got
She
elected.
was elected,
Yeah.
so
her
you don't
term-
have her term?
You
for
should
6
have her
years?
term.
I don't know. But
John wondered about that, and I didn't know either. I assumed that you would
Sounds
just
like
take
the
over.
Pennsylvania State House.
I assumed the opposite, so, we better find out about it.
Yeah, that's something we need
We'll
to
call
look
up our
into.
Pennsylvania State House representative. They're having the same problem with their speaker.
Well,
I know they're having a problem in DC over that.
Let's see.
Okay,
where
now,
are we?
we're going to review minutes, so let me,
You make copies while I make notes.
yes. Oh, pardon me, I've got the runny
Oh,
noses.
you and everybody else. in
I'm
this-
not sick, I just have a runny nose.
I understand. I got it at home with Susan.
Hope this thing doesn't need a passcode.
It don't.
mm,
At least it didn't the last time we were here, a year ago.
Golly, it seems weird, doesn't it, that
Oh.
it's been so long since we've done an audit
Yeah.
or anything that vaguely
Well, the
resembles.
last time we met was 1/24/22.
Wow,
That was when we did an actual audit. Wonder why we got together twice in we got together 3 times in January. And this is 1/4, isn't it? Yeah.
yep,
We met on 1/4 last year too. I hate a new year because I keep writing the last year down.
it takes a little while to get used to, doesn't it? We're still checking the system, kiddies, so.
That's fine. We got all the time in the world, Kate. We're officially meeting. Right?
Oh, I've got an hourglass now.
Or working.
Mm-hmm.
Are we having fun watching the federal Congress try to do something and fall on their face? They're showing their true colors.
I'm so confused, I don't know what the hell's going on. Scott,
Obviously, they don't know either.
oh,
How
It
can,
wants a username.
I didn't bring my book, I can call Wendy. Why don't you just read the minutes and we'll
yeah,
get.
read the minutes, Monday can make us copies
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I think that's what we'll have to do.
I don't think we need the copy, you just read the minutes and we'll verify that we heard them.
I believe that's what we're going to have to do because apparently they fixed it where you can't just print off and I don't have a password anymore. Okay. The Board of Auditors meeting was held Thursday, January 20th, 2022. If you'll remember, that was because we were talking about pay scale for.
And we had to go back and get information?
Yes.
Yeah, and then,
Okay.
so that's why we got 2 meetings last year.
Started at 4:30 p.m. at the Township Municipal Building. Katie Bostek, chairman, called the meeting to order. Present were Richard Swyatt, Katie Bostek, Susan Heck, and Robert Jackson, general public attendee. They're one of the few good ones that have actually come to meetings. Richard made the motion to accept the minutes of the January 4th, 2022 organization meeting. Katie seconded, all agreed aye. We discussed at length the wage for a working supervisor part-time mechanic. Katie had talked to multiple PA townships and found that most townships do not have a working supervisor mechanic position. They are using their road crew to do minor maintenance of vehicles. At the request of the Board of Supervisors, Katie also contacted PSAT Scott Coburn, manager, gave her info concerning this position and advised us to stay within the average wage for our area. The salary stated in the PSAT Salary Survey 2021 summary of statewide results for part-time mechanics is $20.75 an hour. Mr. Coburn also stated it is acceptable to have a working supervisor mechanic, but if estimated costs would amount to over $500 per year, the township would have to go through the bid process each year. Township Code Section 31.02I. We also looked over Brandon Lowe's resume. Richard and Susan are concerned about the risk of injury of the job. Katie feels that if the Board of Supervisors want to hire this position, they must send out bids, and Brandon must have all the necessary items to be seen as an independent contractor to answer a bid: state license, EIN number, insurance, etc. Bob Jackson commended the township for having an elected Board of Auditors and appreciates the auditors for having an opinion about this issue. Thank you very much. Bob agreed with Katie that this position should be sent out to an advertised bid and that the Board of Supervisors need to create a job description for a part-time mechanic. Bob also raised an ethics question that we would need to clarify whether the work would be done here at the Township Building or the successful bidder's location. Bob ended his comment saying we should send a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Richard wants to save the township expenses by hiring someone at $50 an hour rather than spending $60, $95, or $120 an hour for labor at outside auto business. Katie agreed with Bob's suggestion that the Board of Supervisors need to produce a job description for the part-time mechanic. Richard made a motion to write a memo to the Board of Supervisors stating our research into objective evidence from PSAT's Scott Coburn has resulted in these recommendations. Number one, that the supervisors create a job description for part-time mechanic, and number two, that the supervisors put the job out to bid. At that, we continue to hold our approval of $20 an hour wage for the working supervisor part-time mechanic. Susan seconded the motion, all agreed aye, and the memo was created and sent to the Board of Supervisors and Wendy Peck, secretary. We adjourned the meeting at 6:15 with all agreeing aye. respectively submitted. Susan Heck, secretary. It was signed by myself and Richard Splatt.
I approve.
I second his
All right,
motion.
okay, so, and of course, I as well, so all approved.
Minutes have been
Minutes have
approved.
been approved for the 2022 meeting. Okay,
And what's this December 21st meeting?
okay, we did not take minutes for that meeting. That was when we got together, introduced Bob to our happy little plan.
Oh, is that what we just
so-
did?
Yes.
Okay.
And technically, we should have created minutes. So now that Bob's elected, we'll go ahead and let him.
Yeah, well, we didn't have a secretary to take the minutes.
That's true. So Bob volunteered. Thank
Yes.
you. You're so kind.
Yes, you're such a wonderful person.
I'm sorry, Bob. Sir, would you be willing to do the minutes for the
Yes.
21st? Thank you.
Yes.
I don't think it's gonna be as detailed
Oh,
as.
so the 21st.
Yeah, for December 21st. That was when we got together and,
But we didn't do nothing.
well.
We didn't do anything.
Yeah, we did. We had an agenda, we introduced you, we got copies, everybody got copies of the,
What the other
Positions,
townships
yeah.
were doing, and we agreed that we weren't gonna talk about anything. We were gonna take
Here's
all
a
that
copy of ours.
information home.
we didn't have any public comments, chair comments were negligible, so
Okay.
yeah, we don't need to put too much depth in it.
Uh,
So the January 20th, 2022 have been read and approved.
December
Yeah,
21st.
December 21st is TBD.
Okay, to be determined.
Okay, our next job is to set the hourly compensation for our working supervisors. We have a position of roadmaster, part-time road crew, and scratch the building maintenance supervisor. That was that's not an issue,
That's no longer an issue.
not at the moment,
Did that come up at the supervisors meeting?
barely. And you were there, can you explain what all they said?
Well, it got kind of complicated because the only way we could get it done is to hire somebody additional to do just that one job, and it's,
Which is silly.
silly.
Well, I didn't see any qualifications for whatever individual was selected, nor did I see what type of hours were anticipated.
No
So-
hours, no job description, and nothing specific, and everybody was against it,
Yeah,
including the supervisors.
I would say that's a done deal then.
Well, I would like to apologize for not showing up at the meeting.
We missed you, but we,
Well, I had, the jail called me. I had to transport to Harrisburg.
we stumbled through without you somehow or others.
I figured
You
you
do know
would.
that he helps at the prison society and it keeps him,
Actually,
driving.
I had another one this morning. No, I had another one, about 5 o'clock this evening. I had to take somebody to Thormont.
no, thank goodness you didn't have to.
No, I would have been, don't worry about it. I would have been here. I'd have told them to walk. You know, I got a meeting to go to.
Yeah, very important meeting.
Yeah, we've got.
It is
extra
very
people.
important meeting.
Well, I think so, but obviously the supervisors don't.
Go ahead, you got the floor.
Okay, what we have is our roadmaster and our part-time road crew. Now, Wendy had sent us these documents here, which I was really very appreciative of. One is for full-time, the other is for part-time. Now, for part-time, because basically that's what our roadmaster and our part-time road crew are. They're not full-time, they're not a 40-hour workforce. The standard wage median wage for a working supervisor, the roadmaster is $20 an hour.
Yeah.
The 75th percentile is 21. Right now, he's making what, 22, I think?
I thought he was making 20, and this was approved last year, but I don't know.
No, we
No,
bumped
we
him
went
up.
up. We
Pardon?
went
We
up.
bumped him up.
I think it was 21 something, but again, we can't answer that question because we haven't seen the books.
Well,
You know, I don't have that information, I can't remember what we approved. I know I voted
well,
no.
it was either 20 or 21, and,
I voted no, so
yeah, I know.
on that.
That's the only part I.
Now, what is interesting is that should have been in our minutes.
Well,
Well, you know, we're not really, how shall I say this? Professional auditors. And we have shortcomings, and a few of them are the fact that we really don't remember some of this stuff.
Well, what we need, this is the
Once it's done, it's done.
auditors meeting for January 20th. What we really need is the minutes from January 4th, because that's when we made the decisions for the working supervisors. So that puts us in a little bit of a pickle.
Well, I got a suggestion. I remember a comment that was made at our December 21st meeting about how's about take the average of the highest and the lowest salaries, come up with the median salary for this hardworking individual who is our road crew supervisor,
the roadmaster, you mean?
the roadmaster. The reason I'm saying this, I don't really wanna give him a raise. I don't really wanna give anybody a raise, because I think part-time, what's the definition of part-time? It's less than 40 hours, or is it less than 30 hours?
Less than 40 is.
Less than 40?
So I don't
Less than
know,
40
I've never seen
considered, yeah.
a definition in writing anywhere, but.
Cause I don't remember, cause they get overtime. I remember auditing the payroll, and when the winter hits, and they're driving snowplows, and they're working overtime. And so it's part-time, full-time, or part-time emergency time.
Yeah, but that's not actually full-time. There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
There's a big difference there.
And don't they get days off?
And you can,
I mean
I
vacation
don't believe
days?
so.
I think you can divide this totally annual pay off and determine what his hourly rate was.
Do you have the budget?
Yeah.
All I have is a one-page budget, which does not tell me
And
anything.
you got a calculator there?
I sure do.
Alright.
I don't know if Wendy has this.
She knows.
We also have to confirm the bond.
Yeah.
Well, that's all.
Okay, 35,000 was the budget, what's that, by 2008?
Hang on. You say 35K?
Yeah,
There should be a road, if it shows, it should show the roadmaster's wages.
that's what 35,000 was the budget,
Divided by
2,040, but that's
Two.
$17 an
That's
hour.
full-time.
Pardon?
That's full-time then.
Yeah,
If you go by 2080,
that's
that's.
$17.06.
Doesn't say it's part-time, full-time, it says that, he got paid, no, that's not what he got paid.
That's what it's
The
budgeted
budget
for.
was for 35,000.
And so that
And
was
he got paid
$18
He got paid
16
$25,000.
cents.
So he worked about half-time last year, according to this.
Well, if he only got paid 25, then yeah,
He
he's
didn't get
part-
paid, yeah, he got paid 25. But that, he is part-time,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think his wage rate was $20 an hour, that's what I understood anyway. But
I'm pretty sure.
That comes out to
It went up.
24 an hour, and I
For
know,
what?
if you go by the 25,000 and you
Divided by
divide
two,
by half,
divided by two, yeah. Half of 35 is 17.
No, what I'm saying is, if he was showing as making 25,000,
That's what he earned, yeah.
right, okay, you take 25,000, divide it by 20 hours, which is basically what I did,
No, because
and it comes up to 24.
that's not right, because,
No, because I know he wasn't making that.
because what he actually got paid has nothing to do with what his state
Well, what
salary
sticks in
is.
my mind is $21 and change.
Let's call it that, then, and go on from there.
That's what I think was approved over my objections.
Okay.
Yeah, because Sue and I agreed to giving him, I think we at least gave him a cost of living raise.
You might have given him a 5% raise from 20, what did that come out? That's what sticks in my brain, 5% of $20, what is it?
That's $1.
Okay, so $21 an hour, that's what you and Sue agreed to go up 5%, I think that's what it was. Pretty sure. So,
Okay.
what is the average between the highest paid working supervisor and the lowest paid working supervisor?
Well, we're talking about roadmaster here, which
Roadmaster.
is what Mickey is.
Yeah,
The 75th percentile is $21, he's already there.
Right,
For the full-time position, the median is 26.28, which I thought was kind of interesting because that's less than the assistant roadmaster,
yeah.
which is
That's why
26.64. That's so
those
weird.
tables, the sample size is so different on each
Mhm.
one that it's very hard to use that thing.
yeah, statistics are a hard thing to work with.
Well, they're not, those numbers aren't hard to work with, it's just that in some cases you only got one township that reports, in the other case you got 76 townships,
Yeah.
so that's the reason.
Okay, cost of living of $21, wait a minute, let me do that again, I'm pretty sure. $21 times, it went up 8%. That equals $1.68, so that's $21.68 is what we,
It would be $22.68 if we're going by what he's making now, if he's making 21.
right,
Or you're
that's your
assuming,
point.
what number
If
were
we
you assuming,
go up,
21, what, 21 even?
if we were to go up 8%
From
of
what?
his present salary,
Which is, what did we
it's
decide in the present salary?
21.
21 even?
21 even.
Oh, okay.
So 8% increase in that would be $1.68. That's cost of living, or inflation,
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
And I wouldn't even mind going up to 10% to keep the numbers even, or relatively even.
All right.
Which would give him,
That's $23.10.
yeah,
What do you think, Bob? I'm asking about the math.
Math is right,
So
if it's 10%.
if it's a 10% raise, now the cost of living went up 8%.
Yeah.
So we're gonna assume we're gonna compensate them for the cost of living going up another 2% this year of 2023?
That's what you've calculated, yeah.
Is that what we're trying to do?
$23.10.
No, it'd be $23.10.
That's what I said, 23. Did I say 21?
You said 22.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, it'd be 23.10.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, for the discussion purposes, I have been pleased with, despite all of the other issues with Mr. Barlow, when it comes to maintaining the roads and being on, inspecting them.
Yep.
He's not wasting time driving around. He's looking at stuff and he's seeing stuff. And then when he sees stuff, he actually goes back and fixes it.
He's doing a much better job than they are over on Track Road. Pennsylvania guys.
And
Well, that's why I've got no personal problem with giving them a little bit of status pay bump.
okay,
And 10% comes out to something reasonable because it's in average, it's within the average of everybody. It might be a little bit lower than average.
Actually, it's a little, for the part-time, it's a little bit high, but like I said, I really am, you know, everything that I have heard from pretty much everybody is they're happy with the roads. You know, and that's,
Well, agreed, and the most important part is when it's bad weather, and like when the flood comes, when we have trees down, they're out there doing it.
mhm.
And when we've got snow and blizzard conditions, they're out there doing it. I mean, personally, I wouldn't wanna go out there all night long plowing snow.
Heck, no.
And I just think they're considerate about doing their job, aside from the other personal issues that may be attached to the people.
Mhm.
well, could I add to the discussion?
Sure.
Sure, that's what we're here for.
In general terms, though, I think that the way I look at the township, we provide two services really to the community. One is roads and the other is police. And everything else that we do is just in support of those two things. I mean, all the paperwork and the budgets and all that crap.
Yeah, the legal stuff.
It's paperwork stuff, and those are the two really important things that we do. And I think it's important that we're strong and we're supportive in that category. I'll add just sort of parenthetically that I believe that the auditors are a very important part of this, and I'm not supporting
Well,
that.
that somebody thinks we are.
Here's why, you know, we just went through 13 years of embezzlement,
Oh, yes.
you know, and we asked our auditors why they didn't catch this fraud, and their answer was, we don't do fraud. And that's, I really knew it in the back of my head, but that really emphasized it. So
They
the
will
question-
do it if you pay an additional amount
They
of money.
won't do
which is
it,
what
they'll do a
we
shitty job. They're not in a position to do it. The kind of embezzlement
Well,
that.
Well, look at the time it took just me to do the math on payroll.
Okay, well, let me finish my little sermon here, all right?
Go ahead,
I feel very strongly we should have auditors. We went for 13 years and we experienced at least $24,000 worth of legitimate embezzlement. Old Navy and crap like that.
It was worse than that with all of the
Well,
additional fees that we had to pay for late payments, and it
I would
was
say,
astronomical.
I figured I was 40,000 by the time we got through, with corruption, tilting the books and extra pay and all that sort of
or
stuff.
the laziness from just not firing anything.
All the above came to that. The most I could calculate was 40. Our lawyers ran it up to 80 and charged us 40,000 to do it. So that's what Baby Chiefs did for us. So it was really something that should have been detected,
Mhm.
and it was detected by our supervisors.
Right, I remember.
And
I think you're the one who
I'm the one who
identified
found
it.
it, and it was really, I got looking at what she was paid, what the budget was, and it was different, and I asked her, and it could have been a half a dozen reasons, but she said, I'm sorry, I've been overpaying myself. I thought it was supposed to be $4 an hour raise, and it was only 1/4%, 1/4% raise. That was her excuse. And then she broke down into tears and said, I'm gonna pay it back, and blah, 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 and it went downhill from there. And then she maintained that she didn't report to me anyway. And I said she would only talk to John. And so I called John, I said, John, I got a little problem. And John, since she did respect him as the authority, he went in and interrogated her and found out some more stuff. And that's when the shit hit the fan, and we had to really dismiss her and cover her and all that sort of stuff. But my point is that auditors are really important, and I don't think they're important to double check the bank's calculator. I think they're important for the kinds of things that you're aware of and I'm aware of, because we know the people, we know who are dishonest. There's one example that I couldn't prove it, so I'm not gonna mention any names, but a supervisor years ago took some of our equipment and sold it to a junkyard. I went to the junkyard, yeah.
Seriously,
I'm seriously, now who the hell, who would know about that?
just somebody who's boots on the ground.
Right, and that's, boots on the ground is what is needed, in my opinion, as an auditor. Not double checking the calculator that Wendy's got, or the bank, or the balancing the statements. That's all done mechanically, and the auditors usually pick up something like that.
What you do have to check for, though, is to make sure that all of the checks
Yeah,
that
Are
are
deposited.
identified
yeah. Right.
are deposited,
Mhm.
and that all the
You would have
bills are
seen
being
this in
paid.
action, me and Kay. I was going through these bots and I
Well,
would go,
here's my concern.
here's the check number this, and she had the bank statements, and she would go, yep, it's deposited.
Yeah, well, here's
That's-
my point on that, and I've been overruled and it's not gonna happen. I think that was a very poor letter that was written by a very poor letter writer who has not got the best interest of the township at heart, and that's not Mickey. He doesn't write letters.
Right,
So, it was, what we need is somebody with boots on the ground and not given chicken shit little jobs to do that don't amount to anything or stand much of a chance of catching anything. And along those lines, I think the only way to correct that is to make a case to the board of supervisors that we actually have to have auditors, and here's our plan, here's what we would do, and how we're gonna do it, and when we're gonna do it, and all that sort of stuff. It was a
and
plan.
I think that's a good idea, I really do.
And I don't think it's gonna change their mind right now, but in effect, Mickey has disbanded the auditors.
Nikki is what?
Disbanded the auditors.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, he's
He has simply reduced us to the
nothing.
one
Yes.
task.
What we're doing
This is the
here.
one task that we must do every year.
Yeah, now we're not gonna have another
That's
meeting.
by
to discuss
statute,
it, but-
that's Pennsylvania statute.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that he does not go along with all of this boots on the ground inspection stuff. Now, I'm not gonna tilt windows, I'm not gonna argue with him about that, he's the supervisor, he doesn't wanna have auditors except for this one little perfunctory duty. But I've expressed my opinion to him about that, and he doesn't agree. But I go a long way back with Mickey, and in the beginning I was a very strong supporter of Mickey. Mickey became a terror when he became a supervisor. And the only excuse I can offer is that he's new at supervising. He's never had a job involving managing organizations. And I will say,
What about Bobby Kyrholz?
oh, he's another case, entirely different thing. But anyway,
Bobby has been a supervisor.
I know,
You know,
I don't want to
business
dilute
like
our
that, yeah.
efforts here any more than I'm already doing. But what I'm saying is that Mickey has stepped in and he's done a bang-up job on the roads. He's out cutting trees down, he's plowing snow, he's doing all this kind of stuff.
That's like me, if I know what I'm doing, I'm gonna do it, and I'll do a hell of a good job.
Now,
But if it makes me uncomfortable because I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna, put it off.
well, let me just finish if I may, I'm dragging this out of me, but I think, Mickey has changed since we first met him. I'm not a real supporter of his personality, he and I have disagreed on a lot of things, but that's okay, we're supposed to disagree. And that's fine, he ran that meeting last night and he did an excellent job. And, he's apparently, and you, I think, alluded to this also, stepping in and doing a pretty credible job as a supervisor. And I all credits to him for that. People do change, and in his case, he's changed and he's
Well,
gotten
people
better.
learn,
But
people
back-
are able to learn.
Back to the subject of the pay rate for the roadmaster.
Cool.
The second
I
factor,
forgot my coffee.
second
He can hear.
I can hear, you keep going, I got good hearing.
What'd you say?
I forgot what I was talking about.
You're talking
We were
about
talking
Mickey.
about Mickey.
I know. The second factor is this, where could we find a roadmaster who would take Mickey's place if Mickey decided? Now,
He has a first-rate job on that.
he's got all this money, quote unquote, from his brother's funeral. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I don't care.
it does not care either, but, you know, I think it's in the township's best interest to keep him enthusiastically in support of township activities, as he has been for the past at least year. I don't know further back than that, but he's right here, and he comes in, he fixes this building, and this whole concept of having
Oh, hell, he put the floor down.
put the floor, and he
They
cleans
did
up,
the painting.
he mops, and he's doing that.
Mhm.
And he's working probably harder than any other employee we've got, and he gets less money than probably any other employee and I'm generalizing that.
Yeah, that I don't know, because, you know, we've got Wendy, we've got the police, you know, of course, obviously, we have our,
Well, he's making less than Wendy is,
true.
but then.
But
of
have you
course-
seen well, you know what Wendy has to do.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have that job for all the tea in China.
Well, she's very efficient at it, and she knows what she's doing.
She's very
And
good.
she's
He
got
made
her-
the township a lot of money just in the bank alone.
So,
Just by doing things
I would
right.
hate to lose Wendy.
We have an incredible team, I think.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
And Wendy, and I don't know, do we have, I guess Sherry is still here part-time, or,
That was a major screw up.
yeah, Sherry is awesome.
I mean, the thinking at that
Yeah.
time was, well, she already has a pension, so we don't have to pay her anything. Well, she settled for that, but when it came to comp time, and they closed the door on 2 weeks of comp time, because the guy down in Carroll Valley was getting 4 years of comp time, but he'd allowed, I'm not sure, it's a rumor, but anyway, they couldn't fire him because he had accumulated 4 years of comp time, they didn't have enough money to buy him out.
Oh, my stars.
You can't quote me really because I don't know it's a fact, but the thing is that Sherry, all she wanted was 2 weeks in the spring to go to Florida.
She uses her comp time, it wasn't an issue.
She lost it. Mickey put his foot down and said, I will not have any more comp time, period. And there is no more comp time. And
So that can be reversed.
well, it can be, but not by auditors or ever called in, or a supervisor who's
Yeah.
too old to be a supervisor anymore, or a supervisor who's too busy taking care of sheep to run again.
He better not run again.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a labor of love, and it's very hard to find people who are good.
Yes.
Obviously
And
by our
The
our
case,
tenants.
the case of Sherry, you know, she's the best police chief,
She's awesome.
and she's respected all around the county. And we didn't give her, she got an offer that was much better than what she was getting paid. She did what most of us would probably do.
Oh,
She
I
took
would
it.
jump on it, yeah.
But where the hell were we? Why couldn't we rise and make sure that she was compensated at least by what the average police chief makes or something? And we could have kept her there. And I personally think there's even hope that we can lure her back, but I'm not in a position to do it.
Right, we're not.
Anyway, so my bottom line is this: I think we should give Mickey more compensation, enough to make sure that he continues to have an interest. I have no inclination he's going to quit, or that giving him more money would help him stay here or change his mind. But I think it would be a vote of confidence in him.
So are you
Along
gonna make
those
a
lines,
motion?
I'm going to make a motion. We pay him $25 an hour.
25.
25, yeah.
That's the motion, now it's up for discussion.
Right. The
I-
problem with that is,
I'm agreed with the cost of living
Mm-hmm.
increase, but 25 is, even though, you know, we could do cost of living every year, but 25, there's no logic to that, other
Except
than
the
it's
logic
just-
that I just tried to lay
Yeah.
out.
you just throw it out, give them more money, and then next year don't give them anything.
see, the problem is, and this is the problem that we had with Brandon last year. is trying to stay within the guidelines
Yeah, with the
of
maintenance thing.
part-time,
Well,
full-time.
That was an entirely different subject. I was in on that, and there were a lot of other issues, starting with the fact that Brandon didn't want to do it. I mean, he has a full-time job and a family, and he didn't want to do it. His arm was being twisted to do it, and then we got into possible conflict of interest. And then we got into insurance, and we got into all the other CYA excuses that our professionals were giving us, and finally the boards threw up their hands and said, we're not gonna do it. And Mickey's still grousing about it, but I think it was the right decision. But that's entirely
It
different.
was the only decision that we could make.
Yeah, well,
And I feel I'm in the same boat here, in that by giving Mickey $23.10, we are already way above what the median is here on part-time work. 21 is in the 75th percentile. You know, I'm just trying to stay
Well,
within.
I don't think it's necessary to stay within because of the way that thing is calculated. This is my opinion, my motion. I'm obviously not surprised to hear the reaction to it, but I'm saying that the way I see it is we need to have
All right, what our options are here.
compensate the people
This is
that
our
are here
options.
so that they're enthusiastic about working here and not going off to Abbottstown or wherever the hell.
But number one, let's put it in terms what we can actually do here. There's a motion on the floor.
Yep.
We can vote on it.
Yes,
If we don't like the motion, then we'll make another motion,
fine.
and then we'll vote on that.
Are you making a motion?
No, you just made the motion.
Okay. I
So we
made a
have
motion.
to either go yea or nay on
Now
it.
we gotta vote on the
Okay, I
motion.
make
The
the motion.
discussion is over.
I gotta get.
I vote no.
Yeah, keep track of your notes there. And, yeah, I
I
can't go
vote no.
25, I vote no.
No,
However-
I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Now,
I am kind of a maniac about staying within guidelines. That being said now, if,
you wrote that down in the notes. You're the secretary. You gotta make a note that Bob Jackson made a motion
true,
to raise the salary, and if it was voted down,
you have to put in the amount, we didn't vote
Yeah.
down. Okay, now. And I totally understand what you're saying here. So it's not like I'm totally disagreeing, a good
Yeah.
person you wanna keep.
it's
But-
three different people here, and we all have our own way of looking at this.
Yeah,
And I like the way you're looking at it, Robert. I've got no problem with the way you're looking at it. It's just a matter of my numbers brain function. And like Katie said, I like, even though that may not be accurate way of doing statistics, it's the only reference we have officially to give backing to what we do, or give a reason for what we do.
Okay.
And my reasoning is, if we're gonna raise his salary, then let's go cost of living. And right now, the inflation this year was 8%.
and I'm willing to go 10.
And you're willing to go 10. And I did the numbers on that 10%, and it came up to
$23.10.
$23.10.
Yeah.
Well, I could live with that.
I can be honest, in my world,
I mean, I can go to sleep and explain to anybody who disagrees with giving them a pay raise. I've got ammunition in my brain to justify why I'm doing it.
Okay.
I mean, the federal government gave Social Security a bump because of inflation. But the trouble is, we can't take the money away from them when we go into a depression.
No, but,
But I'm agreeing, I'll make
Yeah.
a motion, no, you make the motion.
okay, I make a motion that we give our roadmaster a 10% raise, which, if our calculations are correct,
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta
Yes.
find out 10% of, on
Yeah.
top of what he's making now,
Right.
cause we really don't know the
Don't
accurate number.
absolutely no. So I would say let's give him a 10% raise.
I'm not gonna put in the notes that we don't know what his pay is.
Well, we're missing the
We're missing data.
January 4th,
How about if we just put in 2310?
or we can just say that we're giving him a 10% raise.
Yeah, we'll put
So
10%
whatever he's
raise,
making
then
right
whatever
now,
it
he's
comes
getting a
out.
10% raise.
Yeah, then whatever it comes out to
Yeah,
is what it is.
it might be a little more than 2310.
Yeah, or it might be a little less.
I don't think so.
It might be 2210, who knows?
Yeah, no, it'll be 23 something, I assume.
Okay, now I can live with that. So the motion has been made, right?
Yep, motion's made.
Okay,
All in favor?
wait a minute, somebody's gotta second it.
I second it.
You can't, you made the motion.
Well, then you seconded it.
I'll second it.
This is difficult. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
That's fine.
I mean, I can't say one thing.
No, that's great.
That's totally fine.
That's fine, Bob.
So
You're
you
not,
need to make-
you're not ruffling any feathers here.
You need to
You
make
do what
notes
you
that-
feel
I'm trying
is
to
right
ruffle
for you.
feathers.
I got too much fur on me to be ruffled.
Okay,
Okay, where are we?
part-time
Part-time
road
road crew.
Okay,
crew.
I'm getting exhausted
What,
here.
the part-time road crew, you got any idea what his rate is now? I think,
He's making just slightly less.
yeah, I thought Mickey was at 20 and he was like at 19.
Well, should we,
Now, we bumped them up.
if we
Last
bump
year.
Mickey up,
Bump this guy up.
do we go another 10%?
Who's the part, Kyle?
Bobby.
Bobby.
And Bobby knows vehicles, he knows how to drive them, he knows what he's doing, and he's right handy Bobby. Thank goodness.
Well,
Bump him up 10% also then?
is that your motion?
Yeah. We bump him up 10%.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'm
Okay, we don't have, we're not talking
gonna,
about.
10% COLA.
We're not talking about building maintenance supervisor, that went down the drain
Right.
apparently. What we are going to talk about though next is confirmation of the treasurer and assistant treasurer's bond.
Mhm.
Now, that letter didn't come in.
Here's the letter right here.
Oh, it did? Oh, good. Good. Thank goodness.
That's our Wendy.
It had to come in.
That's our Wendy
Are
doing
these
it.
copies of?
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see. Do we have
It's
the joy to
okay.
get one?
I didn't get one.
Okay, well,
That's
did I give
okay.
you two?
no.
There may be two different things. One for each person.
Well, if that's the case, then you need to have one.
Why?
Okay, we're awaiting the original by mail is what the problem is
It
here.
says,
Yeah.
this,
Do you have the one for Wendy? And I've got the one for Jessica.
oh, okay, I have one here that's signed by Wendy. I guess there's the principal. Yeah,
Okay,
that's,
look at that one, we'll
I don't, it
just
doesn't
pass
say
it
who they're bonding, but I guess that means they're bonding Wendy.
So,
around. They're being bonded by
okay,
Travelers.
I'm
I mean,
speaking
who-
common sense.
What person is being bonded?
Both Wendy and
Jessica.
Jessica.
Therefore, we have two letters, one for each, that's what I'm asking.
No, this is just Jessica.
That's just Jessica,
Well, that's just Wendy then.
and this is just Wendy.
Okay, you're all set
Okay, so we don't have a copy for each of us, but
then. And the approval is
But-
800,000 each?
this is what the numbers say here. We would approve a bond limit of $800,000
Yeah.
for Jessica, and that bond is, $800,000
Mm-hmm.
That's in case she absconds with funds.
What's her last name?
Yoko.
IOKO.
Oh, that's right, I never could figure
Just
that out.
And the bond premium is $1,125.
Now, is that each, or is that total?
Probably each if it's on two separate pieces of paper.
Well, mine is for Jessica, and her $800,000 bond premium would be $1,125.
Okay, and this is $1,125 renewal premium and to be attached to and form part of bond number blah, 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 issued on behalf of Wendy Peck as principal in favor of Liberty Township, Adams County as obligee. Obligee?
And the price of that one is different from the other one?
No, it's $1,125, I believe that's
For
right.
$800,000 bond.
Yeah.
For each of them, yeah. Okay. Well, that's what it should be.
Right.
So what we have to do
Oh, I see, I didn't see.
is confirm that we're gonna get bonds.
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
This is the same as what it's pretty much been every year.
Yeah. It is.
So, I make a motion that we confirm the treasurer and assistant treasurer's bonds.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if this is being recorded, does the public have any comments?
No.
I see a flashing light here. Is there anybody on the phone?
I have no idea.
I don't know how to work this electronic.
The
Call
Ru-
up Vinny.
The Russians.
Yeah, the Russians, Chinese,
The
Chinese
Chinese.
are listening in.
Yeah, what is that?
Uh,
TikTok or whatever?
Oh, watch out for TikTok. As the secretary, do you want to hang on to these?
I'll give them to Wendy.
Okay. But she'll have to provide us with copies at some point or other.
Yeah.
Okay, public comments.
No.
Well, there's no public comments.
Crickets? Crickets? I'm glad they care about us.
But,
One thing that I did want to say, and this is,
We got 5 more minutes, so say it slow.
Until what?
Well, I like even numbers.
He wants
We're gonna
his
be an
hour.
hour. I want my $5.
Okay.
anyhow,
Oh no, it'd be $10. It's an hour.
it's $10, but once they get finished with the taxes. Okay,
Yeah, Adams County owes me $2. They wouldn't give me $1 a year, so I told them, put it together, I'll take $2 for 2 years.
we are, as private citizens, permitted to look at quite a bit of, actually, as auditors, we're permitted to look at everything. The general public is not permitted to look at everything because of personal information, social security numbers, what people get paid, yada, yada, yada. That being said, we can come in at any time and look at whatever we want to look at. I've talked to Wendy, Wendy says, yeah, come in if you wish, and we're not going to get paid for it until we can get the,
Lawyer.
not lawyer, the supervisors to realize that that's a good thing.
Well,
But we can do that if we wish.
Voluntarily?
I would, yes. I
So-
am totally in favor of doing this.
So you wanna do a freedom of information thing under the radar?
No, that's no radar about it, bro.
Well, we're coming in and we can look
I-
at stuff
Don't know
and have a general discussion, the 3 of us, looking at the same thing? Is that what you're saying?
as auditors, I don't know if we have to file an FOIA or not.
It depends on how sticky the management of this organization is about that. And I say they're not gonna be sticky at all unless we do make unreasonable requests.
Right.
Like we had, when Mickey was paid himself for vacation,
Mm-hmm.
and he shouldn't have, and we got caught up in
Yes.
that, he made a freedom of information request of all the payroll information for all the part-time employees that ever worked here, you know.
And that must have been a mess.
Well, it didn't happen. I mean, it's unreasonable,
Right.
and I think it got stopped when he was told he had to pay 25 cents a copy for it.
Yeah, it's a lot of paper.
I mean, in other words, if we're unreasonable in our request, we're gonna have to get legal and authoritative and
Right.
get told to go to hell or wait or repay.
Well,
So, but if
according
you
to
come
the
in and
law,
say, I'd like to look at an invoice from somebody for some reason or other, you won't have to do any of that.
according to the
Whereas
law,
for
we
me,
have
it's-
subpoena authority.
Right, it always comes down to the finances. So for me, I like to look at the, you know, the deposits, I like to make sure that they all smile at one another. Believe it or not, we didn't find huge things, but we did find things that needed to be
Well,
corrected.
Yeah, it's like,
It could be 24,000 over a period of 13 years.
Could be,
But
could
that's
be, I
what-
don't think that would happen with this current.
I really don't. I think I can understand.
And that's why I'm not
Reluctance to spend a
hysterical.
lot of time on
Yeah.
stuff that's pretty darn routine and
Right.
goes through the bank and.
Right, and a true audit is not, in all due honesty, it's not grilling each and every step. You're pulling things, looking at it, verifying, but you're not pulling the whole wad out. You're looking at, just pulling out samples. It's sampling.
Well, I think, as I said earlier, I think the best way to approach it is to convince the supervisors that there are things worth looking at. And one of the biggest is the reputation of the supervisors.
Yeah.
I mean, there was an awful lot of mud that was being slung around because the supervisors allowed Leas to
Oh, I recall.
petitions for whatever, impeachment and all that crap.
I recall.
And it's because, that's why John and I decided we needed to have internal auditors. Just to, at least to say to the public, we're doing something about
We're doing our due diligence,
Right, and we can't say that.
not at the
If
moment.
we don't have any auditors or any, hey, and you gotta ask people to come in and work for the township, they should be paid, I think. So,
I agree, but at that same point, I'm willing to come in because I am a concerned citizen. I'm not worried, I don't think that I'm going to find anything, but as my old boss in my world said, it's trust but verify. And I don't expect to find anything.
yeah, that's true.
And I'm tickled to pieces when I don't find anything. But I feel like it does need to be reviewed.
I agree with you completely, and I think you ought to be compensated for it. I made my point.
Being compensated would be lovely.
I got,
no. Well, the only way anything's gonna change, if you could get our
I'm
lackadaisical
not gonna,
general
I'm
public
not gonna
to
tell.
raise a ruckus and fill the meeting room
Mickey and I
again.
are at least on conversational terms at the present time. I will come in for his improvement, and, I don't trust him anymore.
Yeah, I don't mind admitting to everybody, I like the way Mickey's doing what he does on the roads, but I'm also wondering why, because did they take the auditors out of the budget?
Yeah. I don't think they were ever in the budget.
Oh, yeah,
we were.
How many
Yes, we
dollars
were.
were spent on it?
$1,000.
$1,000, oh boy. That covers
Split between 3 people,
one set,
33.
that's less than one set of tires for the,
Yeah, we weren't costing the township any vast
No.
amount of money.
how about taking our lawyer out of the budget?
Wouldn't that be nice?
I
Well,
mean, we used to pay $3,500 for our lawyer, and now it's,
18,000 is what they
18,000.
budgeted this year.
that's what we paid him last year.
Most years,
Gone
remember
over.
during the Liesta times, we were paying 30 and plus thousand.
That's because we got baby cheeks in there too, but I mean,
Yeah.
and he was just going to town.
He didn't actually do too bad a job.
Baby cheeks, I thought he did a lousy job, terrible job.
I have no
Well, he was inspired by John Lisco, who said that the entire amount of money that was paid to Leicester was not authorized, and that we should recover all of it. And the reason was that we didn't have a separate piece of paper that said what his salary was.
Oh, we don't even have a worksheet here,
We
with
said-
hours. You don't leave us an hourly worksheet.
No, we'll have to come back and,
I'll come up tomorrow
We,
and fill one out.
yeah, we have our, I guess you've never had to do that, have you?
So it's actually 1 hour.
Mhm.
I think we could say that we were here 1 hour, and Bob will have that in his notes for next year's meeting.
okay.
Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting was adjourned at 8:03,
7:03.
7:03, pardon.
You didn't put your watch back to standard.
We're gonna call it 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah. 1800 to 1900.
Which is actually what my phone is. It said it. When I have it up on digital, it said it 4 hours.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
Bob, thank you very much.
Well, you're entirely welcome.
yeah, it's
We're glad to have you.
that you decided to step up to the plate.
Minutes from last, you had one copy of those, didn't you?
Yes, let me give you those.
I was gonna sort of use the same, rather than reinvent it.
Yep,
You both can use the same format?
Well,
but at the same token, we need to get with Wendy and get a copy of the January 4th minutes, because that has the actual numbers for
Yeah.
supervisor and, part-time.
I'll take that, I'll see Wendy tomorrow and ask her what the current rates are. Well, hell, I don't get it anymore, so I don't get notices, of what they are. So I'm not a supervisor anymore,
Mhm.
but Wendy does, she has them, she knows to the penny what they are.
Right.
She's doing a great job.
Wendy is awesome. Wendy is awesome. I mean, we are so fortunate.
I know it. I mean, she's really, well, I look at it this way, Mickey can't write, and he's a little abrupt sometimes, and he looks at things differently than I do. But what he does well now, and he shuffles off the legalities to our lawyer and writing to Wendy. They come together and support him, and that's
Hey,
fine.
Kate,
Sir,
I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't tell you, it's appreciated that you and John donate at $10 a month.
that's pretty cheap
No, it ain't, for me it ain't cheap, I think it's,
for what you guys do.
over and above what most people do. Hell, I transported the guy today, he ain't gonna send us no money.
No.
And,
What are you talking about something I should hear, or what?
no, the Prison Society of Pennsylvania.
Oh,
I donate to it.
Kate and John, their farm donates $10 a month, just from the goodness of their heart, because they think it's a decent charity to donate to.
I'd give you more if I had the money.
You kidding? I just spent why don't you come meet us?
I read your minutes.
Well, this Friday at 1:30, I'll even bring you with me. You can
Where
sit
you
in at St. James in Gettysburg.
Oh, okay.
I'll come get you.
I'm trying to think what I've got going, but I think Friday might work.
1:30, and you come meet the knuckleheads that are the Adams County chapter of the Pennsylvania. Hey, you'll love it. I mean, you'd love this
What are
lady.
they meeting?
You know, at St. James in
Yeah,
Lutheran.
what meeting? Who-
This is the prison society.
Who are you meeting, the knuckleheads, who are they?
That's one is Betsy Howard. She's the head of the Republican. She's the chairman of the Adams County
What group is this
Republicans.
meeting? What group,
The
what's their title?
Pennsylvania
I know.
Prison Society.
Pennsylvania chapter of the Prison Society.
The Adams
That's the
County
folks-
chapter.
What knuckleheads go to the meeting? There are no prisoners there, are there?
No, it's just the people who
Organized.
belong to the organization.
And manage the
Got it.
organization,
I see.
apparently.
I got it now. Knuckleheads, that's a good way to, they'll appreciate that.
But Betsy Howard,
I know.
she's a firecracker. And she's the one that it was her idea to put out the minutes.
Well, I really appreciate it, because that gives me a look at what's going
And
on.
you could see what I've been doing.
You've been doing a lot. You've been on the road a bunch, bro.
900 some odd miles in November. Almost a full week of hours in November. 38 hours, I think it was.
Wow.
Is there anybody else driving beside you?
Oh, yeah. The treasurer, we twisted her arm, Janet Langdon.
Yeah.
And when I can't do it, I tell the jail, Janet's the next one in line. And then we got Judy and Dave, they'll take up the slack. And if they can't do it, then we've got an Uber driver who we can pay if we need to.
They'll call him all hours of the day and night.
You take prisoners from here to some place?
No, they're not a prisoner, they're released.
Oh, I see.
They just kick them out and say, okay, find your way home.
They don't give you $5 to get
No.
over.
Literally,
They don't even give
put
them
them
their
out
own
the
money.
door. They put them out the door. And
From
if-
where?
From the
what?
prison,
Pardon?
from the prison, from the
Oh,
local
this prison
jail,
not up here?
Yeah.
And the Adams County Correctional Facility.
at any hour of the night. They called him at 2 and 3 in the morning to come and pick up somebody and
Why
drive
would they
them
turn
somewhere.
somebody loose at 2 in the morning?
Because they have to turn them loose within so many hours of when they're
Arrested.
arrested or when they're,
But if they're arrested, they have to go to trial first, don't they?
No, if it's a misdemeanor, it's just a magistrate thing.
and if they make bail. I talked to Matt about this, Matt Harvey, because he handles a lot of this stuff. And I said, why in heaven's name are you turning people out in the middle of the night?
Well,
And
that
he
hasn't
said
happened
they
in a
have
long
to.
time.
He said they have to. It's required by law that they can only keep the person, if they're brought before the magistrate at midnight, and the magistrates, and they make bail, or they, whatever needs to be done, they're put out on this, if they don't have clothing to keep themselves warm sometimes, they're, you know, it's a mess, and they call people like,
I took a lady to you'll read about this, yesterday. Took a lady to Harrisburg, right? She was arrested on a bench warrant that's 20 years old for retail theft. That
the bench warrant was 20 years old?
yeah, and when the judge found out, it was bang, you know,
You're
get
out
out
of
of here.
here.
And now she don't know how to get back to Harrisburg. Ta-da! Prison Society shows up, drives her there. Oh, I'm gonna pay, I'm making a donation. I don't ever say how much, I just say, you know.
That's great, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, when you wanna say thank you because you gotta pay it forward. If we run out of money, then the guy behind you, that could have been you. But
See, they'll take them to Harrisburg or to Baltimore to catch a plane or catch a bus or catch a train, catch something to,
we actually buy him the train ticket.
I mean, it's,
I've got a question. I keep hearing this term on television, cash bail. What does that mean, cash bail?
That means if the bail is set at $1,000,
Yeah.
whoever needs that bail, his parents can come, write a check, and they hold the check until.
But they're saying there's no more cash bail or something like that.
that means that they turn them loose without bail.
On their own recognizance.
Cash bail is just the same as bail, huh?
To my mind, it is, yes.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's just a, okay.
Yes, whatever a bail's, and a bail's bond, if they set a bail at, say, $1,000,
Yeah,
most of the time, the bail bondsman only wants $100.
yeah.
So, you know, you pay the $100, the guy goes. The thing is, with no bail, Joe Schmo could commit a felony,
Yeah,
which he oftentimes does,
yeah.
and he walks without having to pay
In
any
other words,
bail.
it's a lack of an or a requirement to pay bail if you're convicted or whatever it is.
If
Not
you're
when-
arrested,
Not when there's,
Arrested.
yeah,
you're
not
not
when there's,
convicted, you're
Arrested,
just
I'm sorry.
arrested.
but not when there's no cash bail, when they've waived the cash bail. And a number of your bigger cities have done just that.
Yeah, I know.
And there've been some murders,
Released
yes, from
on the
people.
street the next day
Yeah,
to murder somebody else.
and you have to wonder if you're a police officer, especially one that's been at this for 20 years or more, you know, how do they feel? They bring in a guy who's been passing fentanyl to kiddies, and the guy goes in and he goes right back out again before the police guy's done filling out his paperwork.
Oh, I got one for you. The same guy, they called me up, he was arrested for public drunkenness. Well, actually, he was drinking in his own room, and his parents were born again Christians, they don't want drinking. So then they called the cops on him, out of his bedroom, take him to jail, and then they dropped the charges. So the jail called me, and I took him home. And then, about 2 weeks later, same damn thing. And I took him home, right? And the jail calls me on number 3, and I told the jail, I says, tell him to walk. Because he ain't donated anything to us, and I'm not his chauffeur. And if he ain't learned after 2 times that his folks don't want him to drink in the house,
You ought to remember that.
you know, let him walk.
Well, you don't get any compensation from the prison board or
Oh no, the prison board will give us $300 a month to defray the cost of what we do.
Oh, okay. Period.
Buying bus tickets, buying clothes for work release,
Oh,
They do all of this.
oh, I see.
and transporting is our major expense. Like $310, plus I gave him $63 traveling money to put him on a train to North Dakota. Oh yeah, in the middle of that frigid thing,
Blizzard.
that blizzard going out there. I said, well, the train will go through, but a bus won't. And he called me up and he made it. He told me he made it, and I said, that's great. And I said, I should have said, did you write a check?
Don't hold your breath.
No, I will. I think he'll actually send us some money because
That'd be good.
he's a CDL truck driver,
Oh,
Class A, and he could drive in North Dakota. He just can't drive in Pennsylvania. His
DUI?
DUI.
Yeah.
And so he could drive in North Dakota as long as he doesn't go back to Pennsylvania.
They may take his license.
Well, he's got a North Dakota license.
Yeah, but DUI is DUI, and I imagine that the
Well, that's,
first, have somebody with a CDL, pretty
you know,
scary
that
stuff.
he was making good money driving pipe up there, pipeline pipe.
okay.
All right.
Okay, but
Thank
then,
you.
now Bob, you see how some of my time is spent.
Here, I thought you were just chopping wood all day, happily amusing yourself.
And I feel so bad about not getting them trees in your woods, but I'm telling you, you ought to see, you ought to drive by my house and see what I got in the backyard in my pickup truck right now. That damn Kirk, #1 son, he's out of control and wild.
Well, the trees are gonna be there whenever you're ready.
Well, by then they'll be sponge.
No, they won't. Those ash trees are,
They're
those,
pretty tough.
and there's a bunch of them still standing upright.
Well,
Yeah.
they're gonna be all right.
They're all right.
All I can tell you is I've cut the laying down there rots pretty damn quick.
You what?